Welcome to the first project in the Design Trends 2021 lessons. What I wanted to do is provide a practical project that pairs well with the trend that I'm talking about, so you can have something tangible that you could start to deploy in your own graphic work. So a common thing I run into is social media posts. It's something everyone needs to learn how to design at some point. And I wanted to talk about condensed typefaces here. And so I have this as a downloadable resource. You can go ahead and grab that here, wherever you find the downloadable resources in the lessons. And I have access to 10 or more condensed typefaces that are pretty common to find. And there's two places I found these typefaces. I tried to keep it as simple as possible. There is Adobe fonts and also Google fonts. So you can go to Google fonts. Those are open to anyone. Anyone can download the Google fonts. And for the Adobe fonts, anyone can do that if you have an Adobe Creative Cloud subscription. If you have that, you can access all of the Adobe fonts. And of course, if you know what to look for, all you have to do is type in condensed in any type of place where you can find fonts, and you should be able to find plenty available. They're pretty common typefaces and fonts. So here we are in Adobe Photoshop. We're going to create a simple artboard for an Instagram post. So we're just going to go to File, New, and we're going to do 1080 by 1080. I like to do a nice high resolution because you never know when you're going to be needing to use these. So we have nice crisp resolution and pretty much everything else default. We're going to go ahead and create it. And I want to try to find a photo. What I want to do is have a simple headline, very short, so we can kind of practice our condensed typography. We're going to create this that you see right here. We're going to pair font, a headline, with a photo. So we're just going to go ahead and find a photo. I love to find all of my photos from Pexels.com. This one's by Marcelo Diaz. And what I want to do is, instead of providing you with a link directly to this, you can simply type in the artist's name or the photographer's name and find them. Because a lot of times photographers remove their photos and it makes those links not work and broken. So instead of that, you can do that, or you can type in black background. We're going to do like a dark black background post. So you can use any of these as your subject matter, just trying to find a photo that we can easily isolate and put a new background behind it. Now that we have the photo loaded, I'm going to go ahead and unlock the layer. I'm just going to copy, Command C, I'm just copying, and I'm going to bring that over to my blank document and go ahead and click OK. What I want to do is I want to right click, and I like to convert everything to smart objects, especially photos, when I downsize them, just so it retains the original resolution and it doesn't blur when I try to make it bigger again, if I decide to make it bigger. And I want to go ahead and isolate the subject here. A quick way to do that is go to Select, Subject. I use this a lot in my lessons, so we're just going to do a nice quick selection. And I chose this photo because it works really well with that select algorithm, select object algorithm. So I'm going to do a quick command shortcut. I'm going to do Command J, and it's going to automatically make the selection and create a new layer on top. So now I have her as a new layer on top. You can also use a layering mask to make the selection, so you can go back and edit if you needed to. I have everything selected. I can go down here to my layering mask, just do a quick layering mask, and I just master right there. I like layering mask because you can just delete the layering mask and you can get the original photo back. So whichever way you prefer. And get my rectangle tool, and let's do let's take a sample. I like taking samples from images instead of just using black. Let's get color inspiration from the photo itself. So let's get the eyedropper tool. Let's sample kind of one of these darker blacks, grays. And I'm going to get the rectangle tool and do the background and bring that down in the layering system. So pretty simple so far. So let's use our condensed typefaces. So we have a lot of different choices. I have them all available here so I can easily grab them, the ones that I supplied on the list. So let's kind of go through. Some of these are more condensed than others. So this one's not quite as condensed. The width is a little bit wider than the one above, but they all have different characteristics and styles. Some of them are kind of a thinner weight and some of them are a lot more bold. I want to go with the bolder condensed type choice. So I'm going to go with one of my favorites, which is Komu. So Komu, and this is A. I think there's an A version and there's a B version. We're going to use A. Of course, you can use any font choice that you would like if you don't have access to Adobe fonts, or you decide you want to use another condensed typeface, that's fine. You don't have to use this one. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and copy this since I already have it as a text, and I'm just going to paste it in. We're going to type in our headline, great for social media. Of course, you could type in a headline. This is just something I had. So what I want to do, the first thing I want to do is I want to collapse. I really want to unify this headline because we have this tight spacing between the characters, and I want to do tight spacing between the lines as well. So tighten the leading a little bit. So I'm just going to double click my type layer. Let's change right here the leading. Let's kind of get a nice spacing just like that. That will also allow us to make this bigger, a little bit higher impact of a headline, which is really important. And so another thing you want to do with headlines is kind of mess with maybe two colors, because right now everything, all the words mean the same. They're not broken up at all. It's just one big block. So what I want to do is I want to maybe highlight the first two letters and make it a different color. And let's keep the top kind of this reddish orange color, and let's go in the bottom, and I like to find inspiration from photos, so I'm just going to sample one of these blues, maybe kind of that lighter blue, and I can go in on my color picker and kind of make it a tiny bit brighter. I just love finding inspiration in photos because it all kind of goes together, all feels together when you're getting inspiration from the photo itself. So it has kind of cool tones and warm tones. That's what makes this photo unique. So perhaps I can kind of generate a different color here. And I don't want it to be so saturated. Let's kind of desaturate a little bit. So I'm going to go kind of diagonal on my color picker and go a little bit brighter. Just like that. Just trying to match that almost sunset color and then the blue color. Another thing I want to do is make this feel layered. So instead of having the typography rest on top, this is why we isolated the woman. Let's bring the woman on the top so she covers the A a little bit. Of course, it could be multiple, places, just as long as it feels layered. And I could take that another level by adding a little bit of a shadow from her. We could either just double click, get the layer styles panel, just do a drop shadow that casts at an angle just like this to make it look like she's casting a shadow onto the typography. Just changing the distance and the size. It's already at such a high level. So just like that, we kind of added a little bit of a drop shadow and changed the angle so it shows a shadow casting this direction. And I could probably clean up that selection a little bit. It wasn't a perfect selection. I would use the pen tool to clean it up if I wanted to. So I want to practice a little bit of font pairing. So we have this really bold, condensed, tight typeface. Let's find a serif typeface to really pair well with this to kind of tone it down. So we're going to have a little small subheading, condensed fonts, and let's make it a white color, or maybe not even a stark white, but kind of a light gray, just to kind of tone it down. Let's use a Brill display. A Brill display, that's kind of a nice classic serif typeface. And we can even make this italicized. I think that would be a nice touch for a serif typeface. So with social media, sometimes you have other little things to say. Some people also have their Instagram handle there, or they have a hashtag that they're promoting, or a, share, save, like kind of information. That would probably be a kind of a good indication of, like a little subheading you could put there. Let's duplicate this. Let's have like just another element so we can almost make this like a template that someone can swap out what they would want to use. Let's do a number, like maybe it's part of a series, maybe it's part of a carousel, something along those lines. And look at the condensed typeface. So I would normally never be able to put something that large, 2 digits, 2 characters. I would normally not be able to fit it in that narrow space, but because this is a condensed typeface, it works pretty well. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to scoot everything over because that's really close to the margin. I like to have lots of margin around my edges. It just looks more professional. So I'm just going to kind of select everything and just take my left keyboard arrow key and just tap it over. Kind of get similar margins if you really want to get detailed with it. I think I have my rulers out. See, I got my rulers on the top and my rulers on the bottom. I can click and hold, and I can get really technical in terms of my margins and get them to be very similar in width. But usually creating social media posts has got to be quick. So here we go. We did that really quickly. We're going to do a couple more other ones here soon so we can practice maybe some outline typography as well.